Welcome, everyone, to the Public Works Committee meeting. The chair will entertain a motion to approve minutes of the previous meeting. Bruno on the motion, Mr. Casito on the second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Or approved. Thank you. Which item do you want to start with, Kevin?
I think we could start with Parks and Rec first. And I would turn it over to Dean as.
Okay, without objection, we'll start with Parks and Rec.
Thank you very much for the action agenda. First, we're requesting to apply for the Town of Bolton occupancy tax again this year. It's been a successful help with our special interest in high-speed programs. There is just a small increase covering the cost, the rate cost changes, but it used to be 2,500, it's 3,750 now. What the request will be, and we look forward to that as those programs fill every year. So.
Okay, you've heard the request. Can we bring this forward for consideration? Mr. Bean on the motion, second. Ms. Turner on the second. Any discussion? You're reminding me to look at my budget, make sure it's in. Okay. Kevin?
That's all I was gonna say.
All right. You've heard the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Next item.
Kristen and I are going to apply for the Pearsall Foundation grant again. It is for upgrades in the auditorium at Up Yonder Farm. Will be for audiovisual equipment and some furnishings, for floor and chairs to the tune of $5,700, not to exceed $5,700.
Okay, let's bring this forward. Mr. Bruno on the motion, Mr. Bean on the second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next item.
We would like to acknowledge and accept the donations from the Friends of Up Yonder Farm. Several things, several exhibit materials for our Century Garden out back, including some stone and exhibitry, the wood carved bear, a couple benches, and program materials and interpretive signs have been donated. We just like to acknowledge that and thank them for it as well.
Very good. Do we need a motion to accept the donation? I believe we do. Can we have a motion? Mr. Bruno on the motion, Ms. Turner on the second. Any discussion? We certainly thank our friends. Can we make sure we get a letter out? All right, thank you.
Yeah.
So we're ready for the question then. All those in favor of the accepting donations from the Friends of Up Beyond the Farm signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next item.
Last item we have on there is a request for a new contract, and this is for the Warren County hatchery roof replacement. As you all are aware, we budgeted for this last year. The bid came in at $150,200, and once we award, we will encumber the money to Iron Sword Enterprises to the roof on the hatchery. We had done some work up in front of it. We had replaced the furnace and taken out the old chimney. Well, that will be part of the roof project, is taking out the old chimney because we were having infiltration of water through there. So this would update that facility, the hatchery facility, greatly once we get this all done. So.
All right, we have a motion on this. Mr. Bean on the motion, second. Mr. Bruno on the second. Any further discussion? What kind of roof is it? Shingle?
Standing seam.
Standing seam metal roof. Yep.
No. Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Next item.
Yeah, if the committee will allow, we have Andrew here from ADK Glamp, and he doesn't have great news for us, but I don't want to steal thunder. Andrew, if you'd like to step up to the podium.
Good morning. As Kevin mentioned, Andrew with Adirondack Safari. I've been vacating the fairgrounds for 5 years. Safari's been there for, I think, 7 years in total. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to hand that torch over, and my lease has just expired. After 5 years of pushing through hard and pushing through tough economies, and it just hasn't been profitable for us to continue there. As grateful as I am, as the lease has been fantastic as far as the cost and the revenue that's needed to do that, just outside expenses have just caused me to have to just honestly close the doors with Safari. I have some other individuals that might be interested in taking over the torch of that. As of the past couple weeks here, I've been putting it out there before I dismantle it. So I'm, I'm wondering if the county, the individuals would be interested in if I was able to bring a qualified group of individuals or company or takeover, if that would be something of acceptance to the county, to the board. I know there's a process that would go along with that, and I
Right.
understand that. But if I'm going to put it out that I want to sell the company, the business, that they know that they at least have something that they can move into. They have the opportunity to have another 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, even further contract to
Sure.
continue this relationship.
Before I turn over to Kevin, let me just say, if you need some time to discuss this type of idea with the county attorney, go over all the various documents, please indicate that. Don't rush it forward here.
Yeah, and it's not really a rush, and I know that Larry could talk to this. While I appreciate Andrew wanting to do that, if he did find somebody who could turnkey, we would still, and Larry could correct me if I'm wrong, we still have to do an RFP. And then from that RFP, we would hope that, whoever may have taken it over, that they would submit for it. But that's, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but that would be the process.
I cannot correct you. That's correct.
Okay.
Right, Andrew, have you communicated this in writing to Kevin?
Not officially, no. We
Not
had
yet.
some brief conversations
I
with
think
the-
that would be advisable, if you could send the communication to Kevin indicating your inability to continue under the existing arrangement, and then we have something formal that we can then respond to.
Yeah, not a problem.
All right, and let me just say, even your being here today, it was a very courteous thing to do, and thank you.
No, you
Can't
guys,
be
the
easy,
county
I
has
know.
been fantastic. I mean, it's a beautiful spot there. We've entertained and engaged with thousands of guests that have just absolutely loved that spot. And it's sad to give it away, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's got to be a profitable business. And I've put a lot of work and energy into that, and it's been 4 years of not collecting a check. So it's sad. It's a beautiful spot, and people are very happy, and people are going to be very sad to have to let that go. But it is a
Yeah,
great spot there.
I just wanted to say thank you to Andrew because you've been a great partner. And we've never had any issues over there. You ran a smooth operation. And it is sad that you're not going to be back there. It certainly now leaves it on Dean and I to find some other use for the fairgrounds, which I didn't want to have to do. But again, thank you for your partnership because you've been a phenomenal partner in this all along.
Of course, and to you guys as well. So, I mean, coming in with Dean, who just got thrown into the mix after Tim had
Tim.
left there. So, he's been great. You guys have all been great. I mean, not that I've engaged with really any of you guys other than just renewal of the lease there, I think twice or something. But other than that, I mean, I'm very happy with the relationship that we've had, and I'd like to continue in some form of another if I can. I mean, I wouldn't just hand the keys over to somebody that I didn't feel was fit and could carry the torch to the level that we did. So if that turns that way, I will certainly be in communication with you guys to make that an easy, smooth transition. So
coming back.
takes the burden and the weight off of you guys to look for someone. So
Thanks, Andrew.
Coming by this morning.
thank you guys. I
Appreciate it.
appreciate your time, and maybe we'll see you guys down the road, some other endeavor, but thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Kevin.
I'll turn it over to Dean for the Lime Adirondack. Forest.
Just a quick comment to update the committee, that we just renewed the lease, that payment and bills typically handled through the tourism department. I did want to tag on, jump down and bring up number 7 as well, as it relates to the Sweet Fire Tower. On August 30th, they hold, the State Forest Fire Lookout Association holds the Light the Night, which is just something that takes an opportunity to remember the folks that used to actually be in the fire towers and do that job looking over the resources of the county. So that being said, taking care of number 2. When
Three-
we've taken care of number 3,
Yeah, 3, we
Yeah.
already discussed doing the contract for the hatchery roof replacement. Based on board approval on the 17th, contracts being in place, we don't necessarily know, dependent upon how far that contractor will get into this, but we will encumber the money to the contractor as soon as the contract is in place, and hopefully they get it this year, but there could be a possible chance that it would move into spring.
Okay, next item.
As you've seen in your packet, we will be hosting the trunk or treat at Up Yonder Farm. We encourage all family and friends to come out for a good night of some treating and maybe treating through trunks. We'll have wild animals and everything as well. If you have any questions, feel free to call myself or Kristen at Up Yonder.
And I would just request from the town of Bolton that possibility of using the Veterans Park for parking again, like we have done in the past.
You certainly may, and I would ask if you would, Dean, make sure you coordinate with Chief Galante.
But I believe Kristen has reached out or will reach out to him as well as Fire and EMS, who always put on a great show as well. Thank you.
Better.
Quick update for the Up Yonder Farms EBGA grant. This grant was funding to help us preserve the taxiderm specimens and the collection at Up Yonder. We have, and the generator has been installed. The HVAC units have been installed in the buildings and they are hooked up, ready to go. We're just waiting on a little fuel line connection, and I'd say we're about 90% done with that grant. And next year we will, it's a 3-year grant. Next year we'll look at cleaning up the parking lot or the, the courtyard. Some courtyard improvements, and we were ahead of schedule and on budget.
Number 6 is the air stocking. We had slated for this week to do air stocking, but I think it's been postponed because of the weather. One of the things that we do this time of year is also the surplus stocking, and we normally do the salmon stocking this time of year, but based on discussions with DEC, the salmon stocking for Lake George is going away. Reason being is they just have not received enough data to say that the program is that successful. With that being said, Jeff Ingley is working with DEC to supplement that with more trout stocking going into future years. So we did, Dean talked about the light tonight on number 7, and I put a nice little photo in your, that's not our tower, that's somebody else's tower, but nice little photo in there for you, because I didn't go up to our tower to get that picture. Go ahead, Dean, the next is.
No, I'm all good with it. And I had a little trivia for you too. The last gentleman who actually served on that tower at Sweet Tower was Jack Dunsmore, up until 1969 when they stopped doing that. But moving on to item number 8, the holiday toy train. So the Saratoga, Corinth, and Hudson line with Hale Raven intends to bring back Operation Toy Train. It was a good success last year. They intend to bring the train up from Corinth to Hadley. It's just staff and volunteers that are on it. Folks come to the driveway, they park, they collect toys for needy families in the capital region in our area. And then they take them back, and that's in conjunction with the Toys for Tots with the group. So it should be another.
And we do that through a facilities use permit. We're gonna use the track.
Okay.
All right. And the next item is the Horicon Canoe Access. As you saw in your packet, the Horicon Canoe Access up in Chestertown is something that has become kind of in the sediment, sediment trap. It just keeps putting sand into the Schroon River, which is a beautiful river for fishing. We took it upon ourselves. I reached out to DEC and Soil and Water Conservation to put an end to that with what we could do. And as you can see in the photo, we put in all the erosion recommended best management practices from vegetation. It turned out very nice. There's a staircase going down. We raised the elevation so water doesn't just go into it. And we curtailed a little of the driving beyond that so it can all grow back and be strong. But I think it'll be a great asset. And it was a pleasure working with the DEC and Soil and Water. It took about a day and a half to do that project with them. And I will say it didn't cost us a dime when it came from the state, and labor and design came from Soil and Water.
I mean, I'll bite. Why is it called the Horicon Canoe Access in Chestertown?
Well, because it's the road that it's on.
All right.
And that's our click term for the crew. Which one you going to? I'm going to Horicon site. I apologize. It is a Warren County canoe access site on the
Okay.
Horicon Road in Chestertown. Thank you. I
Sorry.
apologize.
Budget review.
Good call.
So budget review for Parks and Rec. So again, going to my summary, it's under DPW and under Parks and Recs. The first one is for Parks and Recs itself is Dean currently has a part-time position in Parks and Rec. That gets him through to probably the end of July. He would like to increase that position going into 2026 so that we get somebody to stay till the beginning of September. So that's an increase in that. There's also an increase in repair and maintenance of building and property for roof repair next year to the pavilions and the relining of the ditch for the water that feeds the ponds. So that's the increases that were in 7110. The revenues, as we just spoke with Andrew, will now be decreased because we will not have Adirondack Glamping back at the fairgrounds. One of the things that Dean and I are looking at is other venues to possibly come in there. I received a call yesterday, only a feeler from Adirondack Wine and Food Festival talking about the possibility of doing a second event during the year, and they had requested some information just to feel us out, information on the fairgrounds. Dean has also spoken at some of the probably mainly Warrensburg High School to talk about the possibility of having soccer fields or something to that effect. That would require a little bit of work on our part, and I'm not sure of other venues that we've been.
Well, and also just to reach out to the youth sports program in the town itself to see if what would be needed maybe for resource along an athletic avenue. But much beyond seeing if any displaced vendors, well, that was my athletic component to that. But much less to see if there were any other vendors displaced from other avenues, Wood Theater or anyone else that would use a facility in its whole.
And I think you should actually send a formal communication. It could be an email, but to Mr. Garrity. So he's relation. No, he's here, but you know, just so everybody's aware.
Oh, no, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and then doing that immediately after
Okay,
this
thank you.
communication with Andy.
Next item on there is Up Yonder remains flat. That again is, there's no money from the county for that except for some OCTAX money that goes into there, but that is funded by the trust and any grants that Kristen and Dean go after during the year. So there's no cost to the county with that one, and then that's remaining flat. Up Yonder bed tax, we're looking for a proposed increase from county OCTAX as well as the town of Bolton OCTAX for that one, but that's what Dean had just spoken about. The snowmobile grant remains flat and the railroad remains flat for Parks and Rec budget.
All right, any questions? There being none, what would you like to take up next, Kevin?
We will go into solid waste next. Thanks, Dean.
Yep, thank you.
Scott, welcome. See you.
Thank you.
So ready to start?
I'm ready.
So we have no action agenda items under solid waste and recycling, so we'll jump right into the information for discussion and review.
Yeah, I'll start with a compost pilot update. So as you know, we received word that we were approved for the DEC Climate Smart Community Grant. Right now, it's still moving through the state process. My last update from the DEC was about 3 weeks ago. They're reviewing the work plan and budget. We've been trying to nudge them along. You know, I think there's some folks in the community who are excited to get started on it. So, you know, we've got that part. It's still routing through the system. It is a 5-year grant. I never thought we'd, you know, get anywhere near that 5 years, and I don't think we will, but it is moving through the state. We're also working through New York State changed wetland regulation requirements in 2025. So there's a separate process I had to do to just check on the jurisdictional delineation of the site we had chosen. So waiting for word on that. Additionally, we did have a little comment about the proximity. So it's within 10,000 feet of a jet-powered aircraft airport, which apparently the FAA does not like putrescible waste too close to an airport with bird strike concerns. So it's an issue where we just need to make sure that we're properly kind of keeping that material clear so it doesn't attract, you know, wildlife. So I don't think it eliminates that location. It's just we have to make sure we kind of stipulate how we're going to take care of that. Additionally, we did get, it's called the Center for Eco-Technology. It's funded through the DEC, and they approved us to get 40 hours of technical assistance from an expert in composting. So Kevin and I had our first meeting with the gentleman. He's the one who brought up the FAA regulation. He can do things, he can help with permitting, he can help in kind of any area we want. So the good thing is, it's not a grant we had to apply for. It's a grant that they received and then they approved us. So we get 40 hours of this technical assistance. So I do feel that's some forward movement. They can help with everything from site design to making sure that the recipe we have is successful. So we have that individual for 40 hours. So I think that's positive there. Any questions about that? So next up we have, it's the DEC, it's the Municipal Waste Reduction and Recycling Grant. So we were approved for a grant that will help get 50% of the cost for something called Retrack. It's waste hauler and waste data software that's used by a lot of municipalities. The DEC uses it for some of their kind of collection events as well. Where I'm really excited is it's going to help give us kind of standardized platform to collect data on waste in Warren County. So currently we have a waste hauler permit that's, it's a PDF. The waste haulers have to submit data on, MSW recycling. I then put it into a spreadsheet, but it's not ideal. And when we look to apply for grants and when I have to report to the DEC, this platform will help put that data in just an easy format. We can also use it for kind of quick reporting on diversion rates, because that's another requirement we have, is how much we're diverting from landfills. So that's going to be helpful. So that grant, I think Kevin Garrity just signed off on it. So that's going through the process. The thing with the MWRR grant is it's a yearly grant. So we can apply for it next year to get 50% off the software pretty much every year. That's what I've heard from other municipalities, is that they're able to get that 50% match every year that they use it.
And just to add on to that, this is similar to our household hazardous waste, where we've never had an issue of getting that 50%. DEC has been pushing and moving in this direction, so they're more than willing to give out the grants until the state runs out of money. It's a different story, but right now it's pretty much a guarantee that we could get the grant every single year.
Good.
And then next on there are the proposed hauling rates.
So I'll talk a little bit about this, Scott, as well. So you'll see, first of all, I want to thank all the towns that we've been working with this year and having patience, because we certainly have had some downtime on a couple of vehicles, but then we got them back up. Thankfully, the last downtime that we had was after the season, after Labor Day. So we still had to play a little bit of catch up, but I think we have at this point. As you're all aware, we applied for a grant through DEC for was it DEC?
Yeah, local government
Efficiency Grant. And that was for a new truck, container truck, as well as to staff another individual in our solid waste division for the next 3 years. We received the grant. I think we're now to the point that it's processed. So I think there's a few parameters we still have to worry about, but once that gets done, we can order a truck. And as of the budget for next year, we would look to add a person. So I will talk to that when we get the budget. You will see an increase in rates. Increase in rates is certainly going to cover kind of the maintenance, similar to what we had before on the new truck that we would add. And it would also cover for a portion of the staff. There's still, based on, if you look at the charts that I added to you, the 2024 was the amount of money that you were paying to Waste Management or Casella. The 2025 rate, you can see, was still significantly less, probably half of what it would have been. I'm just looking at the top one, the town of Bolton, it would have been half of what they paid in 2024, and 2026, I think they're going up by $20, the increase in rate that we had. So certainly as you look down the line, there still is a change from 2024 to 2026. That you're still not spending what you were spending with the private haul.
What's, I don't know if you want to save it for budget or now, but what's the ETA on that new equipment? I know some of our equipment at the town level, they got at least a year delay before we can even get it. Do you have that?
So we would have to go out to bid for this vehicle. And similar to what I did for the two Volvo trucks that we had. The bid that we put out, we had requested that the manufacturer provide us, they would have to have one of these container trucks on the lot that are specs. I think we got the other two within 60 to 90 days, the other two container trucks. But again, you know, we didn't request the green paint. We didn't request certain things. We just requested, what do they have on lot that comes close enough to meet our specs? And we were able to obtain them fairly quickly. We would do the same thing for this bid. So we would expect, once we get the ball rolling, that if someone has one of those vehicles, we would have it within 60 to 90 days.
I mean, I think that's essential, if you don't mind my saying, so. I mean, I think that's essential because what our experience is when, for whatever reason, it could be a simple belt, it could be almost anything. If one of our frontline vehicles goes down, it creates a terrific impact at the transfer stations in terms of you know, the accumulation of, you know, whatever needs to be hauled. And I think, and the only other thing do you plan to, or are you able to just lease vehicles if you need them?
We can, and we have, Scott and I have looked into it. I think we're looking at, if the possibility of a vehicle goes down and we do need to lease one, one of the truck manufacturers who's on state contract, was able to tell us that we would have a truck in a week at, I want to say it's 14,000 a month.
7,000 a month.
7,000 a month. So we looked at that, if need be, that we have the ability to be able to do that, turn it around fairly quickly. So my thing would be is now we would have 3 frontline trucks, and then our 2010 would be our backup truck at this time when this new truck comes in.
When the new one comes in,
Yes.
it's between now and then that gives you gray hair, right, Scott?
Or
every
you
day.
lose hair.
Or you lose, but I mean, I think that the ability to lease, I mean, a week is a lifetime during certain times of the year. I mean, the flow doesn't stop.
And the other thing we could anticipate is, you know, we know July, August are the peak months. You know, we can arrange ahead of time just to have the lease or rental, at least have it on hold.
Sure.
You know, just to make sure we're not dealing with backlog, so.
Thank you. Any other questions? What's next?
So the last thing we have on that is for budget review, and again, you can go to my sheet that shows the budget review for solid waste. You will see that I've added in there, there's an increase in equipment. 2 40-yard containers at 8,000 a piece, and 2 40-yard recycling containers at 12,500 a piece. Reason being, and we made all of you aware of this last time we were at committee or several committees ago, we're getting more eyes on the containers now where we did not before when the private haulers are doing them. So our guys are looking over the containers and determining that, hey, we have some issues with some of the containers at certain facilities. We've been rotating out what we can, what we have in stock, but that's wearing thin. So the thing this does as well is, with the drivers that we have now, I have the solid waste supervisor who is now starting to be able to get into repairing any of the containers that are coming back that need some minor repairs. So we weren't able to do it before because we were running so much and didn't have the person in position. But now that we have 1 extra body in there and eventually 2, we can start to repair the more of the containers in-house. We have been sending them to our shop to have them do some work for us. Like if we do the repairs on our side, they take it and repaint the containers for us once we get the repairs done. So we're moving in that direction, but I certainly have to get some new ones. There's also an increase for the local match, and that's for the grant for the new truck and the increase in contractual expense for maintenance of the new truck. subscription for the retrack software that Scott had just mentioned. And then, of course, the increase in the towns, both on the expense side and the revenue side, due to the change in the hauling rates going into next year.
Any questions, for Scott? Kevin? I'm all for saving money. I mean, I think that's great. And they're very impressive numbers there for sure. However, you know, the monies that we've saved the last 2 years, they need to be reinvested. They need to make sure that there's that performance, there's that reliability of performance. I'm all for saving money, but I don't want to be smothered in garbage or recyclables or things we need. We have to be able to meet the program. And so I know you're keeping a focus on that, but as we grow here, until we get that next piece of equipment, until we get to a certain place in time, it's a little worrisome.
Yeah, I will just add that, we all knew going into this year that was going to be growing pains and a learning curve for us. We haven't done this hauling of solid waste for well over 25 to 30 years. So it was new. Scott and I are still working out some of the kinks here and there. But I think with the ability that Scott was able, with the help of the planning department, to get the grant for the new truck and for another individual in that department, that's a huge help. And that's the last thing I wanted to add to the budget. So you will see a new position being added to that budget, and that's the position that will be funded for the next 3 years through the grant. Now, mind you, there is a local match associated with that grant as well, but that's part truck but we included it in the budget.
So.
Oh, sorry, one more non-budget related, but just to address, the overall kind of system and how we're doing. I have been grateful to get some of the transfer station operators together and some of the supervisors, so hoping to do another meeting end of October, early November, just to get folks in the room and kind of talk through some issues and work on efficiencies with the system, so.
Now, the DEC reporting is going to be soon. Do you have the summary? Can you be helpful with the towns in that regard?
Yeah, so with transfer station data, we do have, I can provide access to any of the data we have through.
Have it summarized for the year, for example.
Up to this month.
Yes,
C&D,
yeah,
et cetera.
yeah.
All right, so that may be helpful, particularly, I know we maintain it in a certain format, but I'm not sure how much effort's required to pull it all together. But if you have it, that's good to know. And would we contact you directly?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Good to know, good to know.
We are, I want to thank Scott, we are into now Public Works.
All right, without objection, we'll move right into Public Works. Scott, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Up to good
Thanks,
work.
Scott.
Yeah.
Good work.
So Public Works, we have quite a few action agenda items, so I'll run down through those fairly quickly. The first one is to decrease capital project H404 Quaker Road preservation project for the town of Queensbury, return the local match to the fund source. And that would be to D9950. And that's in the amount of $225,000.
Bring this forward for a discussion. Mr. Bean on the motion, Mr. Bruno on the second. Any questions? Mr. Cressida?
So was this overfunded?
No, I wouldn't say that. There was an estimate for the work that was to be done. As I've told everyone before, we watch them fairly closely. These are not lump sum type of contracts. They're quantity contracts, and if the estimate was off in quantities, or we were able to make some savings in some of the work that they did, then we don't pay them for those quantities if they didn't put them in place. So,
Great.
yeah,
Nice chunk of change.
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
All right, then. All those in favor of the request signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Next item, Kevin.
So the next item would amend the budget, and the purpose of the amended budget, and I probably could have combined these two together, which is to increase D-9950 with the capital projects with this interfund transfer of $225,000 that we just got back from the capital project.
Mr. Crusito on the motion, second, Mr. Bean. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Next item.
Now, the nice part about getting that funding back and putting it into the fund source is now I'm going to request to increase capital project for the local match for the Call Street Crins Road project, which I can tell you that has, based on our preliminary engineering design, has certainly increased. If any of you are aware of Call Street, we have significant slopes to the river on one side that we've had a lot of deterioration and work, and based on the design, there's probably going to be an added cost in there. So there will be a transfer out of the D-9950 for the local match for almost an increase of $450,000 for the Corinth Road Call Street project. And I can tell you that project is probably going to push almost the $10 million mark. But remember and recall that this is a federal aid project and it's an 80-15-5. So the county pays 5 cents on the dollar. The rest is funded by the feds and New York State.
Okay, let's bring this forward for consideration. Mr. Bean, Mr. Merlino on the second. Any discussion? They reimburse us, correct?
Correct. There's a reimbursement program. to
It's
the
a
state. Yep.
reimbursement, just so people know. All right, then, are we ready for the question? All those in
I have a
favor?
question.
I'm sorry,
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Was this project that was done a year or two ago or part
No,
of?
this is a federal aid project that's being designed currently right now.
Thank you.
All right, then, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next item, Kevin.
Next item on number 4 is to increase capital project, and this is H425. This is the Adirondack Bridge and Beaver Pond Bridge projects in the town of Horicon. And this is to anticipate a local match for the construction phase, which would also come out of that D-9950 transfer to capital projects for $10,000.
All right, bring this forward. Mr. Bean, is Turner on the second discussion? Ready for the question. All those in favor of the request signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
The next item we have on there is an increase to capital project for H427. That would be again for the anticipated local match for construction phase for the culvert over Marshall Brook in the town of Chester on Amsterdville Road, County Route 19. And that's in the amount of 209,000.
Incredible numbers, aren't they?
Yes.
Mr. Bean, I see you shaking your head. Can I take that as a motion to bring it forward?
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
I can't get over the cost. It's just-
Second, Mr. Crusito on the second. I share that, believe me. Are we ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next item.
Next item is to fund the local match for County Route 7 Bay Road over H428 in the town of Queensbury. And that amount is for $80,000. And again, that's for the anticipated local match for the construction phase.
Mr. Merlino on the motion, Mr. Bean on the second. Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next item.
Next is to establish capital project H447, which would be the preliminary engineering phase for Smith Road over 13 Brook Bridge. We have that currently out now to an RFP to any of the consultants that are on the local design service agreement through DOT. And this would be to fund the local match for that engineering. So it's $15,000.
All right, let's bring this forward for consideration. Mr. Bean on the motion, Ms. Turner on the second. Discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next item.
And then the last one would be to fund the local match, to establish capital project and fund the local match for the preliminary engineering for Dix Avenue reconstruction in the town of Queensbury. That's project number H448, and that would be in the amount of $40,000.
We bring this forward for consideration. Mr. Bean, Mr. Merlino on the second. We're ready for the question. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next item, Kevin, discussion?
Just a real quick on all those projects, and I want to reiterate that this is where we've had extra in some projects where we've had savings in projects, so we're not adding any more money to the budget. We're not requesting any more money from the budget. This is money that's already there, that we're just moving it from one project that we had some savings on to cover the cost of another project. So I'm not requesting any more money for that. I will be in the budget for other projects moving forward, but I wanted to say for all these, that's money that's already there that we already have.
For all of these.
Yes.
And the next item, Kevin?
The next item that I had, I didn't have anything else under my action agenda items. I have attached pictures for you to see within the package. Those are the project updates and some of the roads that we had for this year. Currently, there are several roads left for this year to be finished, which we are guaranteed by our contractor will be finished by probably the third week, if not the last week of October, barring any weather issues. And that would be the lower half of Diamond Point Road, the Corinth Road from where the new culvert is, out towards Call Street where this other federal aid project is coming on board. Harrisburg. I know I'm missing one more. But that's the remainder of the projects that we had for this year. I think that was, we had a significant number of projects this year. We worked with our contractors, whether they were federal aid projects or county funded projects, and we will have, again, barring any weather issues, we will have all of them completed this year.
Just as an aside, it seems that our friends at the state DOT that the grass cutting hasn't been, 9N's been looking pretty, sketchy, most of the summer. Are they having some difficulties with equipment or manpower or?
I think they were experiencing what I was experiencing. They were having difficulties in manpower, and it was not a priority to them except for the areas where they thought it would impede either lack of seeing guide rail or lack of seeing signage. And that's where they would typically hit in those areas, but they would not do just, similar to what the towns and myself do is entire roads and just run down the road and get it all. They'd only do certain areas.
Is that gonna be the policy going forward, or is that just for this year because of the issues?
I would say it would be just for this year, but I cannot speak for the state. I can certainly ask them.
Please do, because I know there's a number of municipalities affected by that, and we're getting questions from people saying what's going on.
I certainly know that in other areas, the state has requested and pay under contract, other municipalities to do the work for them. The town of Hague right now, plows roads for the state DOT. They do Graphite Mountain as well as parts of 9N. Washington County does a significant amount of maintenance, not maintenance work, but plowing and or mowing for state roads. They're under contract with the state. The state does not contract with us. I don't know that I necessarily have the staff to be able and the equipment to be able to do state roads.
Well, I mean, I think it's something we have to keep an eye on, going forward. I mean, we have a lot of visitors come to our area and our residents as well. You like that things looking nice, unless you agree with Casino. Absolutely. Or, very important. I could say that to anyone, right, Mr. Merlino, right, Mr. Bean, right? I mean, it's seems like case. It's more service and rather have it more streamlined. But I'm not sure that we're in a position right now as a county to take on state responsibilities. I don't see that. No.
I can certainly, reach out to my counterparts in the state. But sometimes maybe coming from a supervisor has a little more pull than I do.
I doubt that.
I don't.
Perhaps the chairman of the board.
Hey, I can't get the sign up by next to 21.
I know, I'm
22, I'm down.
I mean, I think it's something that we just We can make them aware that, you know, the
Sure, absolutely.
kind of sketchy. Some are that way and hopefully it's not a trend. All right, then, anything else?
Yep, we'll go into budget review for Public Works now. So on the very last page of my budget worksheet, my summary, I can go down through the line. So 1490 under DPW admin, there's minimal increase in mainly that salary and benefits. For Westbrook parking lot, flat for 2026. One of the things that I'm doing, we have a maintenance contract right now with McKay Meters. They no longer sell the meters, or if they do, they're just not what the village has been using, or maybe even the town has been using. They switch meters or they've gone to an app. I talked about in budget. I will need the contract at least going through 2026 with McKay for maintenance and I guess I want to say connectivity to the web for the meters that we have, but what I'm proposing and I'm looking into, and I've been talking with the village about it, is they're now going to an app-based meter, so people would have to use apps, and then I believe the company, and I'm trying to remember what the name, but whatever it is, they would basically maintain the system for us. They collect whether it's a 20 cent per hour or whatever. So whatever fees charged to somebody who's parking their vehicle and they go through the app, they would pay the fee to us as well as the fee to the individuals hosting the app. So it's something I'm looking into. Then it's less of a maintenance of requiring me to have meters out there. I certainly wouldn't completely go away from having the bill meters or coin meters because there's still certain people who use those, but we're looking to go more to the app-based type of parking. And a lot of cities do it now. Everywhere you go, you park your car in a spot and you literally most likely have to download an app and you can set your license plate into it and you're automatically parked. They're not going to come around and get you because they get the information to know that you're parked there or whatever. So, follow. 1627 Beach Road parking lot, flat. And again, this is the village till 2030, keeps 75% of the parking lot sales up to $75,000 of the county's 25%. We have never received any more money to it because that's probably puts us right at about where, how much we take in per year. Under 3310, which is my traffic department with my signing and my sign shop. There is certainly an increase in sign material and guide rail supplies. Costs have increased. Striping contracts for 190 miles of road has increased to $1,660 per mile. So that went up. There's maintenance coverage on their sign printer that they have there that's increased. And then of course for guide rail repairs, which we have every single year. Under 5010 highway admin, there's a slight decrease and that's basically for retiree medical and health. Under 5020 engineering, there's a minimal increase due to salaries and benefits, and I'm requesting a new position in engineering. I certainly haven't requested a position in that. In fact, over the years, I've tried to reduce that department as much as possible, but I probably went a little bit too far. There's certain things that, and I'll be the first one to admit it, that it's not that we're not getting done, it's just taking longer from my perspective and even that department's perspective to get some of the things accomplished that we want to do. Supervisor Garachi we have a problem with our lower dam that's affecting their upper dam and the mill pond. And it's something that we've just not been able to get to. We are now over the next several weeks getting to it, but it took us quite some time and we should have been able to get to it before the rain came in. Now we have water back over the dam, so we're going to have to lower the mill pond to be able to do the work that we need to do. So I am requesting a position in there. It would be a more experienced position in there as opposed to hiring, somebody out of college with less experience. The issue being with that is I have to kind of train them and get them up to speed to what we do. I'd rather be able to bring a person in the door, an individual in the door that can hit the ground running. So you'll see that there's a position in there called a construction specialist 2. You'll see the salary that's associated with it. So that's one of the positions, or that's the position that I want to increase for my engineering department. Before I go on, I just want to know if anybody has any questions on that. I just will tell you that my engineering staff does a phenomenal job. I currently have 3 people in there who are doing county funded projects, federal aid projects, the White House, the courthouse, or the courtroom projects, we have some drainage projects all over the county, all the culvert assessments that we did last year. I have them now working through what ones are going to become priority, what ones are going to start, having our crews do or having contractors do. So I see it, and I don't want to lose the individuals I have, but it's a lot of work and they're getting burned out. And I try to help them as much as I can, but they tell me I'm not an engineer anymore, that I'm management, so I shouldn't be coming upstairs. So, but the fact of the matter is, I think I could use this position. I do have 2 other positions that I hope to be able to fill in that as well. And that would get us back up to what we feel would be a proper amount of staff for the engineering department. As you all recall, when I came on board, I eliminated the deputy superintendent position, which for the longest time, there used to be 2 deputy superintendents in the public works department, and now I don't have any. So, at the time, it was looking for savings across the board. But now it's time for me to add something back in. And I will further add that since I took over, the amount of money that has been budgeted every year under DPW, whether it be under admin or I would say it would be under engineering. Over the last 5 years, I've given back $800,000, almost $1 million in that department. So I would hope that and with the budget officer, I hope that they look kindly upon having me have this position. And it just, for me, it's maybe this will help me catch up on some of the work that I feel is not being neglected, but just not getting done in a timely manner.
Comments?
Yeah, I used to hear in higher education, doing more with less. At a certain point, you're doing less with less. You can need a body, add a body. A smart one.
I think it's not that it's ever a good environment, there's a very bad financial environment to be going into, looking for a position. And the truth is, probably, like you pointed out, it probably ends up saving us money, but that's not how it looks. Well, no, it's somebody's got to make sure 2 and 2 is 4, and just, I think we're into a very, very, very difficult budget year, very difficult. This was commented at the last meeting, and just in healthcare alone, that cost alone, you can pick the number. It's an 8% increase, 9% increase, 10% increase. That's against almost $13 million. That's before you talk about anything else. Before we talk about anything else, I mean, it's a kind of budget that I'm actually worried about our infrastructure, making sure that we do the minimum relative to our infrastructure, that we not, because what happens is of course, they're looking to save money, working, you save money, and then they go to the big ticket departments, where they can save a lot of money. We have to be one of Calvin.
Unfortunately, I know.
I'm just putting it out there that it's, we got some very difficult decision-making out in front of us here. Very difficult.
All right, so that was under engineering. The next one is 5110 maintenance of roads. Again, that's small increase in contracts, but an increase due to salary and benefits. 5112 county roads. I will tell you that I increased in the county road from 5.6 million, or that we had, to what I'm looking for in 2026 is 6.3 million. I can be honest with you and say that I actually need probably 7.2 million. but I understand that we do have the budget constraints. I've already spoken with the budget officer as well as the county administrator to look if we can, postpone or, and we're looking very closely at it. But as you all are aware, I mean, mine's funded by taxpayers and nobody else, except for maybe some of the federal aid projects and such. And first thing that people see is whether or not the roads are in good shape. So, so that's the increase in that 5112. In 5142 county snow removal. That remains flat. 5148 services to other governments, that basically remains flat. We don't budget salaries in there. We would have to need to transfer some if we did work for other towns, from maintenance as needed. Transfers of debt services is basically the interest on our bonds that we have. The bond anticipation note is nothing. Transfers to capital projects. This, as I discussed, as all the other funding that we had that I moved for this year. Next year, I'm looking to increase or to have the local match for any of the culvert bridge projects, the culvert and federal aid projects from 630,000 that we had previous to 610,000 for next year. And again, that would fund all the local match for all the federal aid projects for federal aid project and the bridge and culvert money that we would need. 5130 machinery, slight increase due to electricity and insurance, and again, employee benefits. The one thing that I did discuss with the county administrator and the budget officer, as well as the budget team, is I am flat here as much as I can be with my equipment budget. I asked my shop manager to give me the bare minimum of what he would need to replace for next year, and it is the bare minimum. In fact, I'm not doing 2 tandems next year. I'm only requesting 1 tandem, along with the rest of my equipment. In the motor fuel farms, I have a slight decrease in contracts. And then the transfers to debt services is flat. So that is my budget for public works.
Any questions? I think it's a good budget. I mean, and it's, we remember we did, a borrowing some years back to get current. And I think it did what we set out to do. We don't have as a county, we don't have a lot of long-term borrowing, one of the lowest in the state, I think. And it's, we thought at the time interest rates were really, really low, and that was the time to go out and should try to get current, on the rate period. I worry if we start losing ground again. I mean, candidly, I'm just being candid on this. I just I don't know where budget officer and his team, I don't know where they go for this kind of money. That's those of you who manage municipal budgets are having the same issue, at a different scale, but same issue. Kevin?
Yeah, I mean, certainly the bonding that we did several years ago made a huge difference. But we were playing catch up since 2008. When I came on board as the superintendent, I started requesting that we put in much more than CHIPS funding, because that was the CHIPS funding that's all we used to receive. And that was not by any means covering the maintenance that we had to do for our roads. We have a very good program. My staff goes out every spring and inspects every single road, all 250 miles of roads, and we determine based on that what we need for the following year. The thing that I always state in the budget, and Ron and I have talked about this, is it doesn't take, we basically rate the roads as a brand new road as a 10. If you get down to a rating of a 7 on a road, that's typically your mill and fill type of project or overlay project. But if you go from a 7 down to a 6 and 5, we just increase the cost significantly to a project. So we've been, we've kind of looked at it from the perspective that every year we've been requesting the money. We do a large year of doing a lot of preventive maintenance to save roads. And that has worked out very well. And then the following year with some of the, I guess I will say lack of a better way of saying it, the savings, then we start putting it into the roads that we know need to be reconstructed. It's worked out well, but again, I could use 7.2 for next year, but I was trying to keep in mind what the budget was. And we looked closely at several roads and said, okay, we may be able to still continue that road. Or it'll stay at the rating of 7 for another year, but we all know that we live in the Northeast and a winter can change a road in a heartbeat around here. So that makes a big difference, but that's all I had.
Yeah. Let's not forget that even if you take some of these capital items and you put them into a bond, that helps you for that immediate point in time. Doesn't do anything to resolve the issue. It applies to the following year and the year after that and the year after that. That's more of a structural revenue expense issue. So it's, we do keep an eye on. We've always kept a watchful eye on of our own. We kept it as low as possible, which I think is a good thing, right? And our tax rate, what's our tax rate? One of the lower. 3.28. Yeah, 3.28, one of the lowest. One of the lowest tax rates in the state. But the dilemma with that is that even a modest increase on that is a big percentage. You know, when you have a number that's so small that, 15 cents, 20 cents is a big percentage. And that's how, that's how people represent it. And correct, statistically, that's correct. So the good news is they have managed a low county tax rate comparatively. And the bad news is that any adjustment to that is a big percentage. Or could be a big percentage. I just would put that out there for people. John?
Tammy and I were just looking at the rates yesterday, doing a comparison, talked to some of the county administrators. So we're at, they're lower than anyone in this immediate area by about 1.5 to 2 cents per thousand. And some of them go up to 5, 7. There was one we saw at 12,000. That was,
Yeah, no, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, you can pull these numbers, but it wouldn't surprise me if we're one of the lowest in the state of New York. It's a good thing, right? That's a good thing, because then you, if you don't want to get too deep into the weeds, so then you gotta start talking about, well, what's your assessed value compared to another area's assessed value, or whatever. But that is a metric, I don't think, and our indebtedness for our assessed value or our taxes are one of the lowest in the state as well. And all that's very, very true and all very, very good, but that doesn't resolve what have, and there are reasons for this. I don't want to get too much into the weeds here, but I just want to put it out there. I think it's important. We had to make some salary adjustments, and we have mass transit to support. We've had some big ticket items the last few years. All of that is before we start to talk about anything else. Okay, open to the floor. Any comments from the floor? There being none, Cheryl, I'm going to motion to adjourn. Mr. Bean, Mr. Brennan, second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.